Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show as we are dealing with the hopefully last winter storm because I've really had enough. But we've got warnings still up from the interior mid-Atlantic all the way up into New England, and it's cold down here in the south where I had an inch of snow and it snowed most of this morning. Now we've got freeze warnings, and the temperature here in North Georgia is 24, which is colder than some of the temperatures that
If
are
you're a homeowner in New York and you're
still in the
still,
Northeast. I don't know what that was, but all that and more. Is that
that was
you?
me. That was me. I'm not working with the headphones,
Oh,
and
okay.
so when I'm logging on to YouTube, unfortunately, I get the first 1 or 2 seconds of the commercial and I got to go and skip ads now. Now I'm ready.
No problem. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. And in case you need anything with regards to winter weather cleanup, they still have plenty of stuff, although you're not going to need the snow blowers if you're on Long Island or anywhere else nearby. But maybe you need one for next year. Good time to grab one. Maybe you get a lower price because they do have the lowest prices in town. Spreaders, shovels, snow blowers, of course, still have plenty of rock salt, and they're at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125. The telephone number and the website, as our only Joe Rayo can say it, is.
OmniTrueValue.com.
I have to tell you, Joe, when
Hello.
it's hi there, hi everybody, welcome everybody on the chat board on this rare Saturday snow show that we are doing. And just to tell you right up the bat, there will not be a Joe and Joe show tomorrow. Okay, so there's no Sunday show, and there won't be a Monday show either because Joe and I are going to take a couple of our usual 2 days off, which we didn't get to do this week. So welcome aboard. Hope you're enjoying yourselves today in the interior Northeast anyway. And we are sitting here where I am in the mountains of North Georgia with an inch on the ground, Joe, where I am, but there's got to be every bit of uh, several or more up in the higher elevations, going up to about 5,000 feet. Because I had to go to the bakery to pick up a freshly baked hot apple pie for tomorrow. And
Now,
the
how's your pulled pork doing?
uh, well, I took it out this morning. I unwrapped it. I reseasoned it. I let it rest. It's very important that when you're preparing meat that you let it rest. And then I just put it back in the refrigerator. So it'll come out this evening. I'll season it one more time. I'll let it rest, and then it goes in the oven at it's going to go in the oven at 10 o'clock tonight at 200 degrees and cook all night until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. It cooks for 12 hours. It's a pretty big pork roast. It's going to take pork shoulders. It's going to take uh, a good 12 to 14 hours well, probably 12 hours will do it. But it's all set to go. I just have to do the final touches before it goes in the oven. And that's Sunday dinner for me and the grandkids when they come.
Why do I get when you were talking about that? I immediately made a mental picture of that I Love Lucy episode where Lucy says, "How big is a side of beef?"
Yeah,
And Ethel says,
side of
"Well, a side
bacon.
of ham."
Yeah, side of bacon. Yeah, exactly. Oh, good Lord. But the apple pie came literally hot out of the oven and right into the box. So that's going to
Wow.
be dessert tomorrow. So anyway,
There.
everything, yeah, everything. Of course, I was looking just a little while ago. I went to the Weather Service's observation network is completely down. So I can't even see what it's doing in other places. So I'm just relying on everybody else with their observations. In hindsight, probably should have, the early call forecast was a good one in terms of what the final outcome's going to be because I nudged a little higher yesterday, but I probably should not have nudged a little higher. I should have left it the way it is, and it would have wound up being an almost perfect forecast. But you know what? That's what happens in the world of weather sometimes. And I mean, it's not like we forecasted a foot and we wound up with a coating to an inch. Now, some inland areas are doing better with this, but Joe, it's changed over faster. The cold air came in faster, but you know what? The storm is moving faster. So really, you're not net. You're not gaining anything in terms of duration. That really was the big issue here all along, was the fact that this system was just moving too darn fast. It was it basically it moved from North Carolina. It's moving like a rocket ship up the East Coast. So you just really don't gain any extra time, which is what you need if you want more snow.
42 degrees at 8 o'clock this morning here at the home base in Putnam Valley. So 42, we had light drizzle. And I looked out and I said, well, okay, it'll be a gradual, maybe we'll change over by 11 o'clock or by showtime, by noontime, we should be snowing. And at 9 o'clock, light rain, but it was now down from 42, it was down to 34. And then at about 9:15, we had a bit of sleet. And at 9:30, when I opened up the windows in the bedroom, there it was, snow, light snow. At 9:30 in the morning, I said, "Wow, wow!" In 1.5 hours, it went from 42 to 34 with light snow. And now at this hour, it's currently 30 degrees, and we have steady, light, maybe verging on moderate snow, but we have about an inch and a half of snow already accumulated. But Joe, like you said, everything is moving rapidly. The turn down in temperature, a very rapid pace, 12 degrees in only 3.5 hours.
Just measured 2 inches.
Just measured. The executive producer just measured 2 inches right now,
30
and 30 degrees here in Putnam Valley. So we saw a 12-degree drop in temperature since 8 a.m. And as you said, everything is rolling along. And when we look at the radar,
which I'm
I'm
putting
sure
up,
in a few moments,
which I'm putting up right now. So hold
I
on
mean,
one
the way
second.
I could see the back edge. Now, it's going to be snowing on and off lightly. Snow showers and flurries probably through 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock this evening. But the steady stuff, the stuff that's putting down the accumulation at a pretty good clip right now, that looks like it's going to be past us by maybe 1 o'clock or maybe a little after 1 o'clock today. And I've only got maybe another hour of this intensity, and then that's it. It's going to shut down. And I think, I said 2 days ago, people who were with us last night, I told you about my computer problems. And I didn't post anything yesterday or last night. But you know what? The map I put up on Thursday pretty much is going to be telling the story or telling the tale of this, I think, for a lot of folks. An inch or two south of 287, Interstate 287 here in the Hudson Valley, north of 287 up to about the I-84 corridor, 2 to maybe in some cases 4 inches of snow. And then if you go north of 84, 4 to maybe 6, and you got to go well north and west. But if you do go well north and west into the higher terrain areas of like Sullivan County, for example, and points north of there, you're easily going to get at least a half a foot, and maybe in some cases 8, 10, maybe even in a most extreme case, a foot of snow. So that's where you've got to go if you want all the big snows. But down here, again, generally speaking, in the lower Hudson Valley, I'd say anywhere from about 1 to 4 inches when this is all over. The steady snows will be all over by again the next 60 to 90 minutes, and then just diddly squat snow showers and flurries from time to time and place to place, probably right on through the rest of the afternoon, and being blown horizontally probably by winds that'll be gusting 30, 40, maybe even 45 miles an hour, and along the coast, even higher gusts where they have wind advisories in effect as well.
Yeah, and the low is probably now somewhere east of the Jersey coast, and as you said, the radar shows this. You've got that steady precip, and the heavy rain is into southeastern New England. There's the back edge of the darkest green is right at about New York City. What you're seeing out to the west in the rest of New Jersey and Pennsylvania is with the upper trough that's swinging eastward. Now, sometimes you can get some bands in there where you get a good steady light to almost moderate, but it's kind of blotchy. And there are some holes that are showing up. You see one opening up there in south central PA. So yeah, this was from the onset. The issue was the fact that it was just moving so quickly, just racing along to the northeast, and that was not going to be helpful for big amounts. So I think even up in upstate New York and in northern in Pennsylvania, in northern Pennsylvania, there'll be some 5, 6, 7 inch amounts. I think that would probably be tops. Maybe somebody gets to an 8. I don't know if you're going to have time, even up in upstate New York, to put down 12 because by late this afternoon, this thing is already well up into the Gulf of Maine and just going away. So uh, it moves
And where's
along.
Barry? And where's Barry Goldberg located?
He's in Caldwell.
Caldwell, New Jersey. He says right now on the chat board, ceiling is lifting and the sun is dimly visible in Caldwell right at this moment in time.
Not a shocker. Not a shocker. So I've got the HRRR up, and I guess one of the things that the HRRR and the uh, NAM to an extent got wrong is this sort of band of sleet that it had because that doesn't seem to be happening. And but it did. You could see that little nudge of nothing going that moves up through southern New Jersey, but then it's got that upper trough that sort of swings around with snow for this afternoon into this evening. It's mostly light, so maybe somebody puts down a coating to an inch with that, and then it goes out. And then, of course, the other story is the wind, which is going to be howling from the northwest at 20 to 30 and gusting up to 40, or maybe even the occasional gust to 50 miles an hour. This was the 12Z HRRR, so we might as well take a look and see what we got for the latest. So that's the 16Z HRRR, which is only out to 7 hours. But you know what? That's probably all we need, and we'll roll it back. Seems like the HRRR just kind of locked into something and it didn't really change very much. So there's the second part, the back edge just sort of swings around with this lighter snows that come in later during the afternoon and evening. And then this is at 6 o'clock this evening when we're still on standard time. And it's to draw a line down the Hudson River to New York City to coastal New Jersey from there east. There's light snows across Long Island, parts of Connecticut, southeastern Massachusetts, but you really did miss out on all the heavy precip was with the developing low, and the bottom line is if it's moving at 100 miles an hour, I'm exaggerating, obviously a little hyperbole there, but if it's moving so quickly, it really isn't much you can get out of this. So it's done, and hopefully the fat lady from the opera is getting ready to sing her aria because frankly I hope this is the last one, Joe. I'm just tired of it all.
Yeah, it's been and I don't think the biggest snowfall that I've had here in Putnam Valley has been 4 inches. That was that storm that dumped the 20 inches over Long Island about a month ago. I have not had anything more than 4 inches in one single shot, and I haven't really taken a ledger as to how much we've had total, but it can't be much more than 15 inches up here in the valley of Putnam. Um, this is one of our lighter. I know 2 years ago, not last year, but 2 years ago, we had a grand total of like 10 and a half or 11 inches of snow. And I have been up here, Joe, since 2002. And I can tell you that we have had in some years something on the order of like 60 and 70 inches
Mm-hmm.
of snow. We can really have quite a bit of the white stuff up here, but 2 out of the last 3 years, we've had below normal, unless we have something amazing that transpire at the end of this month or maybe in April, and that has been known to happen. But we're going to end up with a below normal snowfall this particular season.
Look, if you're on Long Island, if you're in southeastern New England, if you're in southern and especially if you're in coastal New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, into the Carolinas and back over into the Tennessee Valley. This has been a very good winter from the standpoint of snow for you folks. Most of those areas are finishing up with above average snowfall. Excuse me, but just like we have in snowstorms, when we had a few of them this year with some of these weather systems with the sharp cutoffs, there's a sharp cutoff with this. So if you're from New York City, then just kind of go west, and especially if you go north and west, This is this has been a disappointing winter for you. But that's every year. There's always a snow hole. Every year there's a bonus area, and it's really about location. And the only other thing I would add to that is that in the last 22 years, the coastal areas as a whole in the last 22 years have done a lot better than the inland areas. And that's a complete reversal of the prior 30 years from 1970 to 2000 when everything was pretty much north and west of the coast. And if you lived along the coast, you got very little. So we're in one of these cycles that you actually have to be closer to the ocean to get uh, winters with more snowfalls. That's just the way it's worked.
David Fuller, thank you for hitting super chats. He hit it, in fact, right after we came on the air at about noontime today. Thank you very, very much for the contribution. And again, for those who were not with us at the top of the show, we're doing a special Saturday edition because of the storm today, but we will not repeat. We will not be doing anything tomorrow because Joe has to finish pulling his pork.
Yeah.
Somehow that
Oh.
didn't turn out the way I wanted
No,
it to,
maybe
but
maybe it did. I don't know.
and we're not doing anything, and we're not doing anything on Monday as well.
No one
Hopefully
can
on
no
Monday,
one can pull pork better than I can.
yes, that's right.
You know, I don't let
And
it
the
I
don't
don't let
forget
any
that,
I don't let just anybody pull my pork. I pull it myself.
yes, and
Oh,
nothing on Monday because we deserve 2 days off, so we're not doing anything on Monday, and hopefully on Monday
right. Joe
the
will be.
Geek Squad over
I was
at
gonna I was gonna say
will get
tomorrow.
my machine back.
Yes, you get your computer fixed. Uh, yeah, you get your computer fixed. I was trying to make that
Yes,
in, I was trying to make that into a better joke, but we kind of moved away from the whole pulled pork scenario.
it came out. It came out as I was saying, and I said, "What the hell are you saying?" It's like,
But that's what I'm
you know,
doing.
sometimes
But that's what I'm doing.
you
I'm gonna.
mean, yes, you are. You're pulling pork.
Right,
You
exactly.
got your pulled pork. That's what I.
All right. Just as far as the watches and warnings are concerned, I mean everything is still up, and of course we have wind advisories up over a large portion of the eastern U.S. By the way, from the Florida Panhandle, I think they still have them up there, but they've got them the entire South. It's a no-brainer that they've got a freeze warning up for much of the Gulf states and into northern Florida, and I certainly can attest to the fact because my temperature actually when I got up this morning was 27, and it's been falling ever since. It's still 20. Last I checked, it was 24, but now the sun just came out here, so uh, that uh, that'll probably melt off. Well, the areas that are in the shade, but I can already see a lot of the grass has opened up again. Uh, it goes away quickly here, especially since it's March 12th. But we still have winter storm warnings up for upstate New York and for interior New England, advisories on the eastern flank, and those will probably stay up a while because we'll have to figure out, just how slick the roads may or may not be as the temperatures fall below freezing and stuff starts to freeze up a little. But it's not going to be anything major from that respect. The rest of the country is pretty quiet. There's no other important watches or warnings. We do have some severe weather going on in parts of Florida, so I'll bring the radar back up. There was severe weather, and there were tornado watches earlier this morning in the Carolinas. Those are done as the front has moved offshore. By the way, the wind here is howling. It's like I'm getting gusts of 40 miles an hour. Just as a warning, when it gets windy like this up here, it does cause the power to go out. So if we lose the show, it's because the power went out. In Florida, we've got a squall line. Look at that, Joe. Nice looking squall line there, running from the Florida coast. Looks like it's just south of Cape Canaveral and extends down on the other side toward Sarasota, Naples, and Fort Myers, and it's moving. It looks like the cells are moving east, and the line is kind of sliding southeast. Just want to check if SPC's got any boxes up. I'm thinking not, but actually they do. Okay, there is a tornado watch up for the north central coast of Florida, and that is Going to go until, let's see, issued at 8:30, valid until, it says it was valid until 16Z, but we're already at 17. So is there another one? That's weird. Okay, maybe they extended it for that part of Florida. But there you go. No severe weather forecast for tomorrow, so we're going to jump over to Monday. And SPC has a slight risk of severe weather in northeast Texas, northwestern Louisiana, southeasternmost Arkansas, and southwesternmost Arkansas and southeasternmost Oklahoma. And I think they do have something in their long range. So let's see what they're doing here on the long range. They've got a slight risk over the Florida Panhandle on day 4 and going into North Florida. And then the rest of the time, it's potential too low on day 5, day 6, which is Thursday into Friday, predictability too low, and they say predictability too low right into next weekend. So uh, we're good to go here, and might as well. I forgot to send out notification to my app users, but that happens sometimes. And here we have it, the GFS, the latest GFS run. Yep, it is the latest. So after this goes out, this week coming up, Joe, doesn't look like too much happens. There's a little upper air disturbance that drops down from the Great Lakes late tomorrow afternoon, with some snow showers there over parts of Michigan and into western New York and western PA. So who knows? There might maybe be a snow shower tomorrow evening as that goes by. We'll warm up nicely on Monday as the wind goes to the west. There's a low that's coming out of in the western part of the U.S. We've got some energy coming into the northwest with some snow moving into the Rockies and Colorado, and a low that drops down into Texas. So that's the severe weather risk that they're indicating for Monday night into Tuesday morning in northeastern Texas and up into northwest Louisiana. And then that low moves across the deep south, brings some rain to me. Looks like Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night, and the low goes out off the Carolinas and hopefully stays offshore. It's a little bit of an onshore flow, Joe, that sets up maybe along about Wednesday. Nothing special. And I guess we'll have to wait until next weekend when there's a cold front and a low that comes out of the plains and goes to the lakes and produces a few showers. But otherwise, I mean, really, the weather is nothing except nothing from the standpoint that I would, storminess going forward in the long range. Some action out in the west, but that's really about it. There's no major storms that are being indicated, at least by today's GFS.
Well, there are people on the chat board, Ross Niederman, for example, saying this storm was a bust. And I would suppose that it is a bust if you listen to some of the forecasts that were suggesting. For example, here in the Hudson Valley, I've seen snow forecasts for as little as 1 to 3 inches to as much as 4 to 8 inches. So I guess if you were, hoping for the 4 to 8, but again, it was a tricky forecast because one of the uncertainties was the speed of the storm and just how quickly. And by the way, Joe, I don't think we're going to be seeing any. I think our chances for any thunder has pretty much gone by the board now
There
that the
was
cold air.
there was this morning there was thunder off the coast of South Jersey, but that was it. I did see a few people report that um, earlier today, but yeah, as far as anything convective moving up much further north than that did not happen. I don't understand. This is the thing I don't get. Because I hear that term being thrown out a lot by a lot of people. Oh, this was a bust. This was a bust. Okay, well, when you're forecasting a coating to an inch or two, and you get a little less than that or about that, and then they'll still refer to it as a bust. That's the part I don't get. It doesn't make sense to me. If it, and oftentimes I'll read that somebody will say the storm was a bust, and it'll be where the accumulation forecast was correct. So I don't know what people's expectations are with these things. Do they automatically put it in their minds that every system has the potential to produce a foot plus? Because that's silly if that's the case.
Well, you know, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? I do see. a nice warming trend over the next 5 days. In fact, some of the local forecasters here are already promoting maybe 70 by the end of the week. And yeah, it could very well be that we could see temperatures that high. I know we're going to jump into the 50s here on Monday. So even though tomorrow will be a cold day, if you still, go out and shovel this afternoon or tomorrow morning and you still leave some snow behind, don't fret because that snow isn't going to last much longer beyond Monday with the temps in the 50s and then a long stretch of 50s and possibly 60s and even near 70 as we progress through this upcoming week. And you may remember my reference to the Climate Prediction Center. They had indicated something like an 80 to 90% probability of above normal for the middle and latter part of next week into next weekend. So it looks like what we've got out there right now, Joe, with the cold and the wind and the snow, that's going to pretty much be a memory here within the next 48 hours. So if you're a winter enthusiast, get out there and enjoy it. And I want to show you something. All of you I know are probably well acquainted with this particular publication, the Farmer's Almanac. And Joe, I just wanted to let you hear what their forecast was for today is the 12th, right? March the 12th?
March the 12th.
March 12th to the 15th. This is for the Northeast United States and New England. Are you ready? I showed this to Renata last night, and she did a double take, and her eyes actually bulged out for a few seconds when she saw this. I'm quoting now. This is from the Farmer's Almanac for the 12th to the 15th of March, 2022. Storm tracks from Tennessee Valley to Cape Cod, delivers 1 to possibly 2 feet of heavy snow over central and northern sections of New England and northern New York State. Rain to the south of the storm track. What do you think about that forecast?
Well, the 2 feet is a bit much, but in general, yeah, that's pretty much what's happened. Yeah, pretty good.
They get it right.
Nice. It's
like a broken clock. It's like a broken clock. It's accurate every once in a while, right?
Broken clocks are right twice a day. Now, I just want to point.
Yes.
I just want to show you folks. I'm going to go to the. We're going to go to the stratosphere, and take a look at what's going on up there. And lo and behold, the back a week or so ago, we were talking about a double split in the polar vortex, and I guess up at the stratosphere, the same thing happens that happens down at the surface and the lower levels where the model loses things and then it gets it back. And I noticed today it looks like we're back to a double split. We had a split, and the first split is done. That low just disappeared. But the polar vortex, which is weakening fairly quickly now, is going to split again. And there you have it. And it actually starts splitting this coming week because this is Wednesday, the 16th, and you can see how it gets elongated from the main vortex that's in Siberia, and then it splits in two with one center that goes into Greenland and into the eastern part of the United States, and the other that parks itself in southern China. So the implication here is that we'll probably, and you know what, we're going into the spring, and most in the spring is known for blocking patterns to show up, except that if the Arctic air is diminishing, of course, as we go through time, it leads to periods in the Northeast and into the mid-Atlantic states of northeast winds and doom and gloom weather. So we'll have to watch for this split and whether it results in a developing block at some point as we get toward the end of March and the first part of April. If you're looking for one last gasp, this might be it, but I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it because I was thinking about the fact, Joe, that the April snowstorm was back in it was 1983, correct, or 82?
82.
Right, the 82 snowstorm. I mean, that was 40 years ago. So those kind of storms in April are 30 and 30, 40, 50-year events. They just don't happen very often. So if you're betting on something like that happening, that's a pretty long odds type of bet. Just in case you might be wondering, might be thinking that maybe there's a chance that we could see one more. I honestly, I don't think so. I think we're done. I think this is finally it. And you know what? I'm tired. This was a very, I guess because we didn't have much that happened. Nothing much happened in December, but we were kept busy during January and February, and I've kind of had enough now. So now it's on to spring, and pretty soon we'll be talking about La Ninas and hurricane season. So La Nina is forecast to persist, so that'll be big for maybe another active hurricane season in the Atlantic. But I'm pretty much spent now. The winter it has taken its toll, and I'm spent.
The wife made a comment though. She said, "Hey Joe, you don't have to shovel very much down where you are."
No,
I mean,
I could
I
use a
mean, like
I
up
could
here,
right now I could use a push. I don't even have to do anything because the sun's going to take care. Well, now the sun's gone again, so uh, there's a lot of clouds around. The sun burns through every once in a while, and then we got those snow showers this morning. I'm not seeing. Doesn't look like. Oh no, I still got snowflakes coming down. I also have icicles on my gutters. Some nice looking icicles on my gutters actually. And those are dripping water even though the temperature's only about 24, 25.
here since I'm on a laptop here, why don't I do this? I'm gonna take the laptop and let me just do a quick. Do you still have me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm just gonna go quickly just outside here, and gee, it hasn't it's kind of wound down since it started the show, but I'll open the door here, and you can take a look at Rancho Rayo. This is this
Oh,
is my
look how
backyard,
pretty. That's pretty.
and that looks like a Currier and Ives scene, doesn't it?
Well, that's
And
kind of like
it's
mine.
not,
Mine looks like that too. It's very wooded, but I can't move my laptop because I'm connected to the Ethernet here. So if I move it, I'm gonna pull the connection out. But it's gorgeous.
yeah, doesn't that looks kind of nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so there you go. That's what's happening out here right now. And I think I'm going to move back inside because it's a little nippy. But anyway, that's good. I want to thank the Sparaccios, Trish and Anthony, for. I'm presuming that they are related,
Yeah,
either man and wife
they're
or
man
brother.
and their husband and wife.
Yeah, well, Anthony says, thanks, Joe and Joe. You are my guys to when I want an accurate forecast. And Trish says, thank
Thank
you
you.
for going the extra mile. And thank you for going the extra mile and working on a day when you normally would not work. And we appreciate that.
Thank you
So,
so much. Most appreciated. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And
yes.
you know what, Joe? On that note, I think there's not really much more we can add to all of this. I can't even pull up. Let me see if the Weather Service's observations uh, are working again because they were having problems. And this is where I really like to look at the obs as we used to call them, and I still call them that. I like to look at the observations from all the local area airports to see who's doing what, and uh, it's a very good forecast tool. And oh, it might be back up. Central Park at 12 o'clock is 32 with light rain. There's no intensity. So that explains that. Let's see if the observations are
Yep.
back on the regional roundup. So these were so on the ob on the hour. So I don't know how that works, why it's different. It's 32. It says light snow. Okay. In New York City, flurries at Kennedy, light sleet at Newark, light snow at Teterboro, 32. On Long Island, it's mixed precip at Farmingdale and light rain at everywhere else in mid 30s. White Plains says freezing rain and 32, but that's got to be because there's no intensity. Heavy snow at Montgomery, moderate at Newburgh. This was at 12 o'clock, so it's quite possible that it's not doing that now. Capixie was heavy snow, quarter of a mile visibility. Heavy snow, quarter of a mile at Albany. Let's see. Newark, Teterboro, Caldwell, light snow at Somerville, Sussex, Trenton, Millville. Atlantic City, Wrightstown, all reporting light snow, 3/4 of a mile in Sussex. Philadelphia, light. Allentown, light. No visibility restriction. Moderate at Scranton. And just let me check Pennsylvania just to see what's going on with the stuff that's on the radar that's moving east. Uh, just for laughs. Let's go to Central PA and we'll check their observations there. Uh, Observations. Harrisburg is 30. And okay, so well, Williamsport is have moderated and 24. I don't know where Wellsboro is. It's 1/4 mile moderate snow and 18 there. Reedsville State College, Altoona,
Yeah.
Somerset, Johnstown, Clearfield. So that's mostly the western half of PA. Mostly light snows with some visibility restrictions to a mile. In eastern Pennsylvania, we have moderate at Scranton. Mount Pocono, partly sunny and 22. Gusting to 40 there. Light snow at Leetown, Allentown, um, Quakertown, uh, Doylestown, Reading, Lancaster, Westchester, which is in 2 words. I've been to Westchester, PA. It's Westchester as opposed to Westchester.
Yeah.
Uh, so mostly light snows. Some places the visibility's down to a mile or 3/4. I mean, there's no moderates in that stuff that's out to the west. So that's what you're going to be dealing with for the rest of the day. And maybe you wind up with a coating to an inch out of that, in addition to whatever you might have or have not on the ground already.
Yeah, we're
And
going to wait until about 3. We're going to wait until about 3 or 4 o'clock to start the clearing process. You're right. We're probably going to pick up a little bit more on top of the steady stuff, which, as I said, is winding down as I speak to you. So it's pretty. It's nice. The second time this week that I've had a pretty looking, landscape here. But
and
again, with the
it'll be
warming
all
trend,
gone by Monday or Tuesday anyway.
no question about that.
All right. Okay. Time to say goodbye, folks. So have a great rest of your weekend. We will be back on Tuesday at in daylight saving time. Don't forget to put
Yeah.
your clocks an hour ahead, okay? For that travesty that occurs uh, once a year on the first.
Okay.
Uh,
My brother-in-law just sent a text that popped up on the screen here. He is in northeast Pennsylvania. And, he's around the Broadheadsville area, not too far from Stroudsburg, if you know northeastern
yeah.
Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey. Anyway, he said, okay, it just stopped here, 3 to 5 inches, and that's how much they got in Monroe County in Pennsylvania. So,
Okay. Awesome. All right. So everybody, we'll see you on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to pull my pork. That's the pork shoulder. Okay. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
bye bye.